You want to try going up it?
Hey YouTube, in this video we're going to see my clutch burn up. Actually, we're not going to really see it burn up because on the trail where it burned up, didn't have the GoPro running. But as you can hear, it's slipping quite a bit here, and it's going to burn up before the end of the day here. Of course, this is steeper than it looks. It's not super steep, but it's a little steep. And I have a Rekluse clutch on here, and so of course it should be slipping a little bit as you're going up steep stuff to kind of help you get traction, but it's slipping more than it should. And I actually installed the Rekluse but one ride before this, and I just stuck with the springs that came with it, and it slipped more than I liked. And so when I got home after that ride, I pulled the Rekluse out and stuck the softer springs in, which caused the clutch to engage at a lower RPM, and it actually felt pretty good when I rode it around. And so I was kind of excited on this trip to get out here and actually test it on the trails. And if you're wondering, I did set it to the clutch to the settings that Rekluse recommends with their little rubber band. It wasn't too hard to get it set, and it actually was kind of weird riding around without the clutch. I mean, it's weird. I find myself when I'm riding quite often grabbing the clutch. So you can see here, whenever I hit mud, I slow down. I'm just not super comfortable in the mud yet. I'm getting better, but I'm not there yet. So that van there, I'm pretty sure those guys are up here cutting wood illegally. We didn't see them, didn't hear any chainsaws while we were here, but when we were in the staging area, we could hear chainsaws. And the sheriff's told me that one of the reasons they're up here is looking for people that are actually stealing wood, so I think that's probably what's happening there. So anyway, back to my clutch story. So this trail that we're riding on is kind of a fun little warm-up trail. It's one of my favorite trails up here. You may have seen it in another video. And we had come down it, turned around, going back up, and we're kind of using this just to get back into it because neither of us have done. We've both been out once this year, and this is a second time out for each of us. And so after heading back down this trail, we found a fairly steep trail that we both took our DRZs up, and a little bit up the trail. It's quite a bit steeper than this. A little bit up the trail, my clutch was just slipping like crazy, and it was one of those where I started off in second gear, and I was really wishing that I was in first gear because the clutch was slipping so much, but you didn't want to shift down because I was afraid I'd lose my momentum. And a little bit before the top, I was actually able to shift into first gear, but by then I think the damage was done. So we tried letting it cool down a couple times before actually deciding to ride back to the staging area, and it's a good thing we did because by the time I got back to the staging area, the bike was totally dead, or the clutch was totally fried. And so then, you could rev the motor and it wouldn't go anywhere. So it was a real blessing that we weren't at the bottom of the hill somewhere and had to push it back out. So if you're wondering what caused it, I'm sure what it was is I did not install new clutch plates when I installed the Rekluse. And when I got this bike, the clutch was pretty fried, or not totally, but I mean it was been abused, and I abused it a little bit more beforehand. And I should have just followed their advice and installed it, but live and learn,
It took me a minute to get comfortable again.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
For me, that's kind of a nice warm-up. Yeah. I mean, it's fairly difficult for me, but not bad, so. Whew. I'm out of shape, though. So from here, though, there's nothing in that direction, so we got to just ride back down and just continue on down that trail. Okay.
So we rode back down and then rode up the steep part I was talking about and burned up the clutch. And so here I am after making it back to the staging area, and there you can see a motorcycle with a burned up clutch. My buddy out, let him go out and ride around a little bit while I waited, hoping things would cool down and get better, but it never did. We ended up going home. So here I am back home a little later, pulled out the clutch, and if you look down by my finger, you can see little score marks on the Rekluse, and I think that's the only damage that actually did to the Rekluse. The pads are worn a little bit, but they're pretty pretty minimal pads to begin with, so I have a feeling that everything's okay. You can see there's some bluing, and that definitely got heated up, but once again, I think I can just sand it down, and I've done that many times before, and I'm pretty confident it'll be okay. You can kind of see when you look at the clutch there, it's worn. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell how much it's worn, but when I measured it, it was below what Suzuki recommended. So live and learn.